Hey friends, before we get started in our video today, I just want to take a moment to say a couple of things. What you're going to see is how we do a greenhouse indoors, how we set up things to start seeds indoors. And I just want to share this because sometimes we can overcomplicate these things. Do what you can, use what you have, and when you need to buy something, keep it simple. Too often we end up looking through seed catalogs and things such as that, and we think that we've got to have some sort of $300 grow light system to start our seeds indoors, because if we don't, we're just not going to have a good garden. We're not going to be able to successfully start our seeds. We are lent to believe that, without these things, we're just going to end up wasting our time and wasting our money, when in reality, something like that can be a waste of our time and money. Again, what you're going to see today is just one way in which to do this. It's a way in which we've grown into. We started out very simple when we started our seeds indoors. Matter of fact, in a later video, you're going to hear how we did it, and we just can't believe we actually got anything to grow. And so, again, we hope this will be an encouragement to you. Remember, you just need something as simple as a warm environment and a south-facing window. And not even necessarily a south-facing window, just a warm environment and some sunshine, and you can start your seeds indoors. So again, thanks for joining us today, and we hope that this will be an encouragement to you. Hey everyone, thank you for coming back to our channel. We're glad that you are with us today. Today we're going to be talking about starting seeds indoor. We live in Zone 5, which means that about this time, which for us is mid towards the end of February, we need to begin thinking about starting our seeds indoors. Now we can start them as late as mid-March, but no later than that. And so we're going to be assembling the indoor greenhouse that we use to start our seeds indoors. Now let's talk about that for a moment. Again, this is all about doing things simply, using what you have and trying to get as much use out of what you have. For the first several years, as we began starting seeds indoors, we had a plastic shelf unit that we kept downstairs in our basement. And obviously, as its name, we used it to store stuff on our shelf. And we wanted to get double duty out of it, so when it came time to start our seeds indoors, we emptied all this stuff off the shelf, put it on the ground of our storage room, brought it up here to the living room area. We originally were starting stuff out at our back porch, but that didn't work out as well. We'll talk about that at some other time. And tied it up for basically a month and a half as we waited for those seeds to go, and until we could put them outside when they wouldn't freeze and when they wouldn't get harmed. But in the meantime, all the stuff that we had on the shelf was now laying on the floor. There was no really good place to store it. And as I said, we'd like to try to get as much use out of a single item as possible. But sometimes you have to end up purchasing things that are they're only used for one thing and one thing only. And that's okay. And that's the case of the little greenhouse that we have that we're going to put together here in just a moment. Now, one of our favorite places to shop is Menards. Now, you might not have a Menards where you're at, but we have a Menards here in Southwest Ohio where we live. We love this Menards because it is a two-story Menards. It is a two-story kind of big box home improvement lawn and garden store. It's to me, it's a man toy store. I absolutely love it. And one day, as we were shopping there and kind of just walking around and browsing, and especially over in the clearance area, we like to go to clearance areas of stores, of our grocery store, our one-stop shopping store, our big box stores, and just kind of browse and see if there's anything there that we've been looking for that we can find on clearance. Now, you got to be careful. You don't want to end up binge shopping or buying stuff that you don't need, or buying it just because, hey, it's on clearance. You need to make sure that it's something you actually need. Well, as we were going through, they had this greenhouse, and it's a cheap one, and we'll show you what we've had to do to modify it, but they had a cheap one on sale for $10. And we thought, well, how can you go wrong for $10? But what was even better is they had a $10 mail-in rebate. And again, I know that sometimes when you do those mail-in rebates, they're almost more hassle than they are to fill it out, because sometimes you don't get it back, or you didn't meet all the requirements, and so what ends up happening is you don't end up getting your rebate. However, usually with the merchandise that we buy at Menards, we've never had that problem. So anyway, we buy this for $10, we send in the rebate for $10, and we basically end up with what? A free greenhouse. So it doesn't matter how cheap it is, in the end, you almost end up a winner. Now we like this because this greenhouse you can break down, you can put it away for the summer and the winter until you're ready to get it back out in the spring or late winter and put it together and then use it. And again, because it didn't cost us anything, how can you lose? And so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this down out of our storage area and we're going to begin to set it up. My wife has already planted some flower seeds that were almost late in the game. We're planting some salvia and some large white marigolds. We like putting a red, white, and blue motif of flowers around our flagpole out front. And the salvia, you're supposed to start here in zone 5 all the way back in January. We started them even later than February last year. And while we did get to enjoy them, it took us a long time until they were to the point where we could transplant them. And then when they transplanted, they got to their full size and we could enjoy them. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go out. I'm going to take you out with me and we're going to pull that down out of storage. We're going to put it together. I'm going to show you what I do to kind of modify it, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and we're going to get it all ready to put our garden seeds in this coming weekend. So come along with me as we pull this down. All right, so we'll head out into the garage. Put this back up. Not enough storage space. All right, so there it is. That's it. Some shelving, the aluminum supports, the brackets, the cover, and what we're going to show you eventually is the greenhouse lights that we got. They're basically trouble lights that we got on clearance, and then they have grow lights, LED grow lights that we also bought on clearance at Menards last year, and these lights are usually like $5, $6 a piece, and we ended up getting these for under $1 a piece. So even after all these grow lights and some of the modification that I do to our stuff, we still have paid less than $15 total for this entire unit. So let me go ahead and get this stuff down and we'll get to assembling it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and begin assembling this while you guys get a musical interlude and I try to figure out later on the editing software how to speed this up so you're not watching me forever. Plus, you also get to watch me do what maybe some of us do, which is since we have something that we only assemble once a year, we try to remember how it goes together each year when we pull it out of storage. So here we go. right, so let me go ahead and tell you what I like about this. Number one, in spite of the fact that I have to try to remember how it goes together each year, it goes together quickly. Even with me having to deal with a spider, and even with me having to take the poles out and put them back in the right way, it took about 10, 12 minutes. That's it, at least to this point. And so I like the fact that it's quick, it's portable, it breaks down, I can put it in storage, I can come back and really just have this one thing dedicated for this each year. I haven't put the cover on, you'll see that later on here. But here's what I don't like about this unit. If you want to try to pick this up at all as a unit, it easily comes apart. The shelves really don't stay on that well. If you try to rearrange something, they can come off, they can tip, they can fall, they can spill everything out of here. And so what we end up having to do is I end up taking duct tape, and I duct tape pressure downward from this one to this one to this one, all the way down, pulling these all together so that when you have to pick it up as a unit, it doesn't all come apart on you and then end up spilling all your new seeds on the ground. I also then take zip ties, not a lot, but I take zip ties and I secure these shelves to these cross members. Now again, it might seem like a lot of work, but I got it for free. And the zip ties I get at Harbor Freight, the duct tape I get at Harbor Freight, so half the time I get the zip ties for free with the purchase of something else. And so it really doesn't cost that much. And then what we end up doing, and you'll see here after a little bit, is we end up zip tying our trouble lights to these cross members. There's another cross member here I left in the other room that I'll put up. And so we've got these grow lights that sit above the plants on each shelf. And so it provides both heat, some heat from the LED, keeps the heat in, and then gives it light 724. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spare you the pain of having to watch me put it together the rest of the way. We'll have this all zip tied, we'll have it duct taped, and we'll have it possibly over in our other area. All right, so we're finished to this point so far. I've had some old Duck Dynasty tape left over. And so what I've done is I've just pulled each tier to each other with duct tape all the way down. And then what I've done is I've zip tied all the racks at the corners. Whoops, forgot to snip one there. I'm gonna have to come back and get that. But I've got them all taken care of, and I've done it to both sides. So when you pick it up, both sides stay together. Now, mind you, this has taken me about 1 hour to do everything. What I've done is I've taken the trouble lights and I've just suspended them from supports. That bulb is out. I need to go buy another grow light bulb. Hopefully we can find one on clearance. And then I've just strung the extension cords all the way down the back. And I have taken the one that's the lowest and plugged it into here. And then I've taken the 3 highest and plugged them into there. Now what I would like to do, we have an Alexa. And so I'm probably at some point in time going to get one of my extra ones, plug all of these into that so that I can then turn these on and off by just telling Alexa to do it, rather than having to climb over everything and plug it in and unplug it. And so again, we'll meet up with you when we do our seeds next week. Thanks for staying with us.